I take over Roma for 5 seasons to try and bring them back to glory. They've won 3 Serie A titles throughout the course of their history in 1942, 83, and the most recent one in 2001, led by Francesco Totti. But it's been 23 years since they've won a Scudetto. And first order of duty will be setting up the youth and transfer scouts to ensure that we get the best possible talent exploited. For our scout instructions, I usually have 3. The first one being a world-class prospect that's 23 or under, and a lot of talent will come out of this one. The second one being a first-team quality player that's just hitting their prime between 24 and 28. And lastly, of course, a world-class player with no age restriction. Now we allocate these scouts. I usually like to target the top 5 leagues and then add countries like Portugal, Netherlands, Belgium, and Turkey. But before we get started, it looks like the board wants to give us a set of challenges. And these challenges will be: 1. Keep the talent local. Sign 3 Italians to your starting 11. 2. Win the Champions League. And 3. Bring 5 major trophies home. After playing around with our lineup, this is what it looks like. We obviously have new additions in Enzo Lefebvre, Artem Dovbyk, and Matthias Sule, but we will definitely need to strengthen the squad further. And we have given a mediocre 70 million budget to do so, which means that in order to bring in the talent we're looking for, we need to sell players to create that budget. And we've listed players that include Pellegrini, Karsdorp, Smalling, Abraham, Selic, and Angelino. And we waste no time in getting that money in. First offer is for Lorenzo Pellegrini, an offer of 46.1 million from AC Milan. But we will try to squeeze some more money out of them. And there you have it, 55 million for Pellegrini, and he is the first one to exit. We follow with sales for the other players and expand the budget to make some moves. Let's start by targeting young players that I see a part of this project. The first player we'll check out is Arthur Vermeeren from Atleti, a young and talented defensive midfielder that shows loads of promise. I also have a couple of exciting wingers to strengthen our attack. Antonio Nusa being the first, a skillful and technical winger from Club Brugge. And the other one is Hassan Diao from Real Betis, only 17 years old and extremely pacey. And we end up getting all 3. We make some position changes to fit our lineup, and now we have a clear path to start signing some players. The goal is to bring in 5 new players, and I've placed some options in our transfer hub. We've listed players that include Girona fullbacks Arnau Martinez and Miguel Gutierrez, young up-and-comers like Ousmane Diomande and Andrea Colpani, some talented midfielders in Ederson, Vitinha, and Nicolo Fagioli, as well as other difference makers like Gyökeres and Isaacson. But we're in desperate need of some fullbacks, so our first target will be Alexander Ba from Benfica. To no avail. He was not happy with our wage proposal, so we had to move to our backup option in Vanderson from Monaco. And there you have it. First signing complete. Vanderson arrives from Liga. Our second target does come from a rival, but his potential and reasonable market value are too good to pass up on. Isaacson has arrived from Lazio, and we complete our second signing. Our third signing is someone who I think could play our left wing, and Ademola Lookman. He will require a position change, but that shouldn't take long, and that completes our third signing. Only 2 more to go, and I think it's time to go big with a world-class keeper. And the one that came to mind is Kobel from Borussia Dortmund. We had to settle for a number way higher than his market value, but we were able to put pen to paper. And Kobel becomes our 4th signing of the season. We still have no left backs in the squad, and being that one of our challenges was to insert 3 new Italians to our starting 11, I've decided to bring in 22-year-old Fabiano Parisi from Fiorentina. The 5 signings are sealed, and this is how the squad is looking like. I really think that we can do immediate damage, but it's also a very young squad that we might have to be patient with. Our highest rated players by a large margin are Dybala and Kobel, both at an 88. After those signings, we were confident enough to tell the owners that it won't be long before they know they've made the right decision for this project. Fast forward to the end of the season and we start in the Coppa Italia, where we beat Udinese in the round of 16, but get stopped by Inter in the quarters. Not the greatest of starts, but we move to the Europa League. We top our fairly easy group, but with only 11 points, get past Lens in the round of 16, beat Galatasaray 5-4 on aggregate in the quarters, draw Braga and beat them in the semis, and end up beating Liverpool to win our first trophy. And just like that, an incredible start to our journey to European glory. Let's see where we ended up in the Serie A. We've already made the Champions League by winning Europa, but regardless, I expect at least a top 4 finish. We're in the top 6, but just miss on top 4. We end up 5th with only 71 points in our first season. Let's take a look at our stats and growth from season 1, and look at that, the unsung hero Gustav Isaacson leading both the goal and assist department with 25 and 10. He's grown to a 78. Dybala also with a solid season. Zalewski has grown to an 80, Dovbyk to an 82, Vanderson to an 80. The growth looks good. And each season we will be accumulating our stats to see who our all-time top scorers and assisters are. Isaksen leading both departments with 1 season in the books, with Dybala trailing in both goals and assists. Season 2, and we start with some young free agent signings, a 16, 17 and 18-year-old, all already in the 70s. It looks like they've upped the budget to 114 million, and that will certainly come in handy, but we've made some additional changes to increase that further, because I think it's time to bring in a couple of big names. Nico Schlotterbeck and Bruno Guimaraes are the 2 players we'll try to sign. And there we go, we've sealed Schlotterbeck. We unfortunately did not have enough money left over to sign Bruno from Newcastle, so I've decided to disperse this money to create more depth in 2 positions. We'll be signing Kefren Turan from Juve and Hugo Duro from Valencia as a backup striker. They've arrived and we've completed our 2 signings for Season 2. The squad has a lot of room to grow, but we're on the right path. The board did not hesitate to remind me that we were not brought in for mediocrity. They expect trophies and they expect them fast. We jump to the end of the season where we get past Sampdoria in the round of 16 in the Coppa Italia, knock down Genoa in the quarters, but fall to Milan in the semi-final. We jump to Serie A where we're of course hoping for a better finish than last season's 5th position. And we have made the top 4, but 4th is where we stop, 6 points higher than last season, but we need to build more traction. In the Champions League, we top a tough group with Barcelona in it, but lose to Benfica in the quarters. It surely has to be the inexperience in the squad that is forcing us out of these deep runs. Let's check out some stats from Season 2, and this time it's Dybala that's leading both departments. Dobvik with 22 goals, is that enough to put him in the top 2? We shall see. Isaksen with another impressive season, and here are the results after 2 seasons. Isaksen stays on top with goals, but Dybala leads the assists with 21. Looking at what we need, and I do think it's time to invest in a better striker and central midfielder. But otherwise, the growth has to fill the other positions. The likes of Isaksen, Parisi, and Vanderson have grown and will continue to grow at a fast pace. Season 3, and we start with a couple of free agent signings. One that looks like Szczesny's regen, a 76 rated keeper at only 19 years of age. The board has decided to increase the budget to 157 million. And as stated before, a new striker is coming to town and will go after Openda from RB Leipzig. It took 125 million and a wage of 150,000 per week to get Openda, but we sealed the deal. Dobvik and Lefebvre are now gone, and we create the means to sign a new central midfielder, and guess who comes knocking? It's Newcastle, and absolutely we are. 95 million for Bruno, and welcome to Roma. Dybala somehow disappeared during our sim. He might have had a release clause in his contract, so we unfortunately have to fill the number 10 role in our 3rd and final signing of Season 3. We had minimal money left over after the 2 signings, so we had to include Cristante in a swap deal to finalize a deal for the talent from Monza, Andrea Colpani, our 2nd Italian added to the starting 11 that gets us close to completing our first challenge. We jump to the end of the season where we make it all the way to the Coppa Italia final but lose to Juventus. A definite improvement. We had to get past Napoli and Inter to get here, but just falling short. The moment of truth in the Serie A, and let's see how we did. 4th again, a point less than last season, and there's been no traction in the league. In the Champions League, we top our group comfortably, beat the Croatian side Hajduk split in the round of 16, blow by PSG in the quarters, but lose to Liverpool on penalties in the semi-final. Definitely an improvement in this competition, but do we have the right squad to go all the way? Looking at stats from Season 3, and Isaksen once again the leading goal scorer. Colpani with a wonderful season, Openda with 15 goals, and Duro with 11. That's 26 goals from our striker position, and let's check on the standings. A big and comfortable lead for Isaksen, 72 goals. Dybala still in 2nd despite playing only 2 seasons with us. You would have to think Openda will climb these spots once he's in gear. Looking at the player values to see what changes we can make, because I think Season 4 is a big one. It's the season where we have to take the next step. We can't be stagnant, and we surely can't settle for a season with no trophies again. Season 4 and things are getting serious. We move on from players that are struggling to grow further, and we're going all in the transfer market. Looking at what we need, we'll look to invest in a winger, attacking midfielder, another top central midfielder next to Bruno, and a backup center back. After considering all options, I've shortlisted 4 players that I think can take our squad to the next level. Barcola, Fagioli, Bisek, and Soboslai have been brought in, and it's time to fight up there with the big boys. Our squad is final for Season 4, and it does not look like we lack anything. End of season 4 in the Coppa Italia, we get past Verona in the round of 16, past Atalanta in the quarterfinal, knock out Fiorentina in the semis, and lose in the final again, and it's Juventus again. Back-to-back appearances in the Coppa Italia final to no avail. We move to the Serie A. It cannot be fourth again. Can we get a better position? We do, and it's second, 8 points shy of the title, and we're surely getting closer to becoming Italian champions. In the Champions League, we sneak in as a second seed in our group, beat Spurs in the round of 16, and PSV in the last 8. Man City has dropped in the semi-final, and we are going to the final. We will be facing PSG, and do we have what it takes to show up in a moment as big as this one, the biggest stage in club football, the Champions League final? And yes, we do. Roma are UEFA Champions League winners. And look at that, 35 goals from Openda, 25 for Isaacson, Bruno and Sobo with good seasons. A little underwhelming from Barcola, but it's fine. And Isaacson with still a comfortable lead with 97 goals in 4 seasons. Openda climbing up with 50, but has a long way to go. And our right back Vanderson cracks the top 2 in assists. Season 5, and I don't think any changes are necessary except for potentially one signing, a world-class center-back that can take us to the next level, and we have trimmed the options to 3. Bremer, Tomori, and Araujo, and simply because we have the budget, why not go for the younger and higher rated of the 3? We will go with Araujo from Barcelona. It will take 140 million and 400,000 a week in wages to close this deal, and there he is. Ronald Araujo, welcome to the club. This will be the only signing of the final season. There you have it. I am loving our squad, and we surely do need a league title before the 5-year contract expires. This is our last opportunity, and we jump right into the results. We reach the final in the Coppa Italia. It will be against Napoli. Can we get it done? And this team was ready to play. That's trophy number 3 in the bag. We make it to the semi-final in the UCL, but get knocked out by Real Madrid. And now for the most anticipated trophy of the save, our final Serie A run. And it looks like we are in the top 4, top 3. And it's not 2. Roma have won the Scudetto for the first time in 28 years, and the board is over the moon. The fans are ecstatic. Roma are Italian champions. Great seasons from many of our players across the board. Openda with another 30 goals, Soboslai with 24 and 8. Isaacson is up to an 89 overall. Barcola has caught his stride. It's been a full team performance, and here are the final stats. Isaacson wins both the goal title and assist title for Roma, with Openda and Vanderson grabbing silver. I hope you enjoyed this takeover. Make sure to support the channel for more of this down the road. See you next time on To Extra Time.